New York, this is our year. We've struggled. We've had dreams dashed and hearts broken.
Another disappointing loss for New York.
But things can be different. Hope is back.
He shoots. He scores!
New York, our time has come. Paid for by Zoran for NYC.
Per the AP, New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani publicly apologized on Fox News for language he has used in the past to criticize the New York Police Department, saying Wednesday that he is looking to work with these officers if he is elected. Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, also used the interview to send a direct message to President Donald Trump, looking into the camera to tell the Republican that he is willing to speak at any time to lower the cost of living, hitting on one of the defining themes of his campaign. For Mamdani, leveraging a Fox News appearance to address Trump and the city's police department, two looming and major hurdles to his potential mayoralty, came as he works to broaden support and build relationships ahead of next month's election. The state assembly member and self-described democratic socialist has been dogged on the campaign trail by comments he made in 2020 in which he called to defund this rogue agency when referencing the city's police department. His stance came during the national uproar over the police killing of George Floyd in Minnesota, and at the time he described the NYPD as racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. Since then, Mamdani has distanced himself from those positions, arguing that they do not represent his current agenda. He's now pledging to maintain the police department's staffing levels while creating a Department of Community Safety that would deploy mental health care teams to handle certain calls. Asked about his previous comments, Mamdani, 33, has said he has worked to make amends with police officers in private, though his comments Wednesday on Fox's The Story with Martha McCallum represented his most public attempt to repair his relationship with the department. Mamdani told McCallum that he had apologized privately to a group of officers for the language that he used. She then asked if he would also apologize publicly. Absolutely. I'll apologize to officers right here, Mamdani said, because this is the apology that I've been sharing with many rank-and-file officers. And I apologize because of the fact that I'm looking to work with these officers. And I know that these officers, these men and women who serve in the NYPD, they put their lives on the line every single day. He went on to explain his prior comments. In 2020, the year all of these tweets are referring to, it was the year George Floyd was killed, and it felt like safety and justice had never been further apart. At one point in the interview, Mamdani also turned directly to the camera to address Trump, who has threatened to withhold federal money from the city and arrest Mamdani if he wins the mayoral election. I want to take this moment because you spoke about President Trump, and he may be watching right now, and I just want to speak directly to the president.
You know, I want to take this moment because you spoke about President Trump, and he may be watching right now, and I just want to speak directly to the president, which is that I will not be a mayor like Mayor Adams who will call you to figure out how to stay out of jail. I won't be a disgraced governor like Andrew Cuomo who will call you to ask how to win this election. I can do those things on my own. I will, however, be a mayor who is ready to speak at any time to lower the cost of living. That's the way that I am going to lead this city. That's the partnership I want to build, not only with Washington, D.C., but anyone across this country. I think it's important because too often the focus on the needs of working class Americans, working class New Yorkers are put to the side as we talk more and more about the very kinds of corrupt politicians like Andrew Cuomo that delivered us into this kind of crisis.
Pressed repeatedly during the interview about his past criticisms of Israel, Mamdani said he was primarily focused on issues that mattered to New Yorkers, but maintained his pledge to arrest Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he steps foot in the city. He said it was too early to know if the ceasefire in Gaza could work, but said Trump deserved credit if it proves to be something that is lasting, something that is durable. The spokesperson for President Trump said the president was not watching the interview when it aired Wednesday. It was probably golfing. So, unfortunately, we here at AT News, who have said many positive things about Zoran, we're going to have to file this under slightly disappointed. Because unfortunately, I think that Mamdani was right on the money with his comments about the police in New York City in 2020. Really can't think of anything that's happened in the last 5 years to change them as an organization. It's a little disappointing that he's talking about keeping staffing levels at the same level, largely because a lot of the programs that he's pushing for are going to need funding, and a police department that's the size of the military of many small countries, often dwarfing their budgets in some regards, really seems like a sort of easy source of money that can be put into public service projects. And, you know, a lot of the things he's talking about. It's also It's a little worrying because in a lot of campaigns where we see Democratic socialists or more left-leaning Democrats come out, they start getting closer and closer to election day, and it's looking more and more likely that they're going to win. And they are people who have talked about defunding the police or are critical of the police, and then either come up against reality of their job, which is they're going to have to work with the police department they want to potentially either dismantle or change or alter, and are faced with the fact that there's a small army of guys running your city with a powerful union behind them, lawyers, laws. They are the law of your city. And it's kind of difficult to have them work with somebody who they see as working against their own interests. It's a political reality that someone like Mamdani has to deal with. So what does this mean for Mamdani's campaign moving forward? Mamdani is probably going to try and deliver on all of his promises as best he can. This is likely not an indication that, like so many other Democratic candidates, he's going to back off of his leftist policies and just become a standard rank and file Democrat or mayor. The reality of being mayor of a major city and all of the promises he's made, he's probably not going to be able to fulfill all of them. I don't think anyone is completely deluded into believing that he can deliver everything within, say, a year or something. But, he's going to try. He's going to give it his level best. We hope. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of Democratic candidates like Mamdani who've come out in the past. Particularly Mamdani, because he does have kind of this is a positive note for him as of now. When we believe he's sincere about all of these policies, he has kind of an Obama-like quality to it. He's very smart, very politically savvy, he's very charismatic, he's very good on camera. He's handled just the torrent of criticism thrown his way when it comes to his position on Israel. He has deflected all of that really well. There's not a good line on that. You can't win the mayoral election in New York City by being pro-Hamas. I would love it if that's the country we lived in, but he's done very well dealing with that. I wish, I guess, that was the line he took with this. I wish it was more like, I made those comments in the past, and the police department, needs to have certain issues. It has certain issues, and we're going to address those. But I'm not talking about dismantling the police. I'm not against these officers. These are people. These are workers. Something like that. There is a way to sort of take this is something that a lot of people on the left disagree with, but in terms of a political election, in terms of playing the game of politics, looking at the police department and his criticisms of them in the past through the lens of, being pro-labor, I guess. Like, these are workers with a union, and they have made mistakes in the past, but that can be addressed. They're not people, and we're not looking to put them out on the street or something like that, rather than backing down and eliminating that language from sort of his political identity. Because, purely from a factual standpoint, a lot of what he's saying is correct. The police, the New York City Police Department, they are part of the George Floyd narrative. The killing of Eric Garner, for God's sakes, the killing of any number of unarmed black people in New York City by the police department. What have they done to address that? Seemingly nothing. They've only gotten larger and more powerful, more bloated in their budget. They are an issue that you would hope that a Democratic Socialist mayor would be willing to address. So, I like Mamdani. I love him. I hope that he is able to accomplish a lot of his goals. This is a worrying step for me. I really hope this is not the beginning of him pushing further to the center. I hope this is not the beginning of him, becoming your standard sort of Democratic hopeful, getting more in line with the party as things start going well for him. Say he wins this election, he does well as mayor. I think that there's a thing that happens with some sort of up and coming, more progressive candidates who, are either DSA or are further left, who then become part of the Democratic machine and sort of move away from their roots. I mean, you saw with Obama, he was a lot more progressive and left wing before he started before he was essentially handpicked to be the next presidential candidate. If that sort of thing happens with Mamdani, where he's mayor for a few years, and then maybe a few years down the line, like he starts getting more Democratic clout. They try to sort of maybe push him for a state senator or a governorship or something, or he sort of gets ambitious. Let's think. I want Mamdani to be ambitious in New York City. I want him to stay there and finish get started on and then finish what he's talking about starting and doing. I don't want him to become just another Democratic politician. And that is what I have. That's my problem that I have with this story. This is the sort of thing you can see from any other Democratic politician. This could have been an opportunity for him to galvanize his support among the left, and he didn't take it. We wish him well. We're going to see what happens. He's still got to take down Cuomo and, Sliwa. Oh God, that's going to be a tough race, guys. Who's going to win that one? But yeah, good luck, Zoran. Wish you a little more ACAB, but we'll let it slide this time, I guess. AT News, I'm Dave.